Did you see the CDC director, Robert Redfield, talking to Chris Cuomo? It seems that people that had been vaccinated were no longer tracked, presumably because if that were the case, they would have seen that people that were vaccinated were still carrying and spreading COVID, and that the entire propaganda campaign around the pandemic was demonstrably false, and that we would have known that a lot earlier and would have understood it a lot earlier and would have been a lot less compliant. Let's have a look at this.
I mean, I was upset with CDC when I left because they stopped tracking people that were infected that were previously vaccinated. So if you didn't track it, well, because then you couldn't report that there were people vaccinated that got infected.
But no, wait, why did they stop tracking it?
But I think there was a decision not to do anything that made the vaccine sound like it didn't work. You know, I've always tried to be honest that I think there were some major mistakes in the vaccines. They should have never been mandated. I also felt that people should have been more honest about the fact that there were side effects to those vaccines and some people were actually harmed. The other thing, I thought there should be, you know, more honesty about the fact that the vaccines don't protect against infection. I remember Biden saying, you know, this is an epidemic of the unvaccinated. When I was Hogan's chief public health advisor in Maryland after I left CDC, I was saying, wait a minute, 2/3 of the people that I'm seeing infected in Maryland have been vaccinated. I mean, the President of the United States said it. Biden said this was an epidemic of the unvaccinated. Tony wasn't aggressive in putting this in perspective. The CDC didn't put it in perspective. The reality is this vaccine, listen, it's a short duration in which this vaccine provides some efficacy, maybe 4 to 6 months max. You know, if you came down and visited me and interviewed my patients, you know, you'd interview patient after patient after patient that did not have COVID, but are very sick, right. You would say very sick long COVID patients, and it's all from the vaccine. Now, what is it, Chris? Well, it's the spike protein is immunotoxic, all right? When you get infected, it's
Oh no, this is stuff that we've known for such a long while, isn't it? These are conversations that were being had, like, I feel pretty early, at least halfway through 2020, tentatively and nervously. Spike proteins. Remember, like, early conversations with Robert Malone when he would say, this isn't how this works. Remember the conversations around PCRs. I don't see how our current institutions can actually survive the revelations around this subject, because it's such a demonstration of institutional corruption that it's impossible to trust them ever again. I'm really interested to see how they mitigate these revelations as they come out. I'll be really interested to see what happens with Bill Gates and the amount of trust and power that he has, Anthony Fauci and the amount of power that he's previously had, the entire Biden administration. I'll be really interested to see how this plays out over time,